Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Νιώθω λίγο ξανά σαν κοριτσάκι στο σχολείο. Αγαπητοί φίλοι, αγαπητοί Ευρωπαίοι, είναι μεγάλη τιμή μου και χαίρομαι πάρα πολύ να έχω την ευκαιρία να σας πω δύο λόγια στα ελληνικά και στα αγγλικά και θα αρχίσω στα αγγλικά. Because I would like to respond to what has just been said, and I would like to describe to you a little bit the party that I represent, because I see there are many similarities with today's event. And you just said the word liberal is a bit difficult in the Greek context. In the Netherlands, there is a second liberal party, which is more conservative and right-wing. And therefore my party, which is firmly in the center of the political spectrum, we had a bit of difficulty to adopt this label of liberalism. But then I said, why do we accept that other people define for us what liberalism really is? We have to define what liberalism is. So my party was founded in 1966, that's why we're called Democrats 66, and we were what we would now call an anti-establishment movement, and we were going to change the system from within. Well, the system proved to be a bit more resilient than we thought. But we are still firmly in the center, neither left nor right, but on the axis of libertarian versus authoritarian. We are certainly more libertarian, and we're also more progressive than conservative. And finally, we started out, as the founding father at the time said, as a movement and not a party, because a party would be part of the system. But today, we do call ourselves a party. Σαν φίλοι της Ελλάδας, πολίτης της Ευρώπης και μέλος του Ευρωπαϊκού Κοινοβούλιου από την Ολλανδία, θα ήθελα να σας μιλήσω για δύο πράγματα. Πρώτον, για όσα εκτιμώ ότι πρέπει να γίνουν για να βγει η Ελλάδα από την κρίση, και δεύτερον, για την Ευρώπη που οραματιζόμαστε εμείς στη Συμμαχία της Φιλελευθέρων και Δημοκρατικών για την Ευρώπη. Η Ελλάδα και οι Έλληνες περνάνε εξαιρετικά δύσκολες στιγμές, αλλά όπως λέει μια παροιμία, ποτέ μην πετάς μια καλή κρίση. Never waste a good crisis. Όπως γνωρίζουμε από την ελληνική μυθολογία, μέσα από το χάος ξεπηδά μια καινούρια τάξη. Μπορεί να φαίνεται δύσκολο να το πιστέψω κάποιος αυτή τη στιγμή, αλλά η Ελλάδα έχει μπροστά της πολλές ευκαιρίες. Το μόνο που χρειάζεται είναι το θάρρος και το όραμα για να τις εκμεταλλευτεί. Η Ελλάδα μπορεί να γίνει ηγέτης. Οι Έλληνες είναι το ίδιο έξυπνοι και ικανοί με οποιονδήποτε άλλον, και αυτόν μπορούν να γίνουν ηγέτες. Αντί λοιπόν να υιοθετούν το ρόλο του θύματος, οι Έλληνες πρέπει να σηκωθούν και να αποδείξουν τον κόσμο ποιοι είναι. Γνωρίζετε το ρητό «Don't get mad, get even». Οι Έλληνες πρέπει να πάρουν το μέλλον τους στα χέρια τους. Δεν θα είναι εύκολος ο δρόμος. Θα είναι επώδυνος και για μεγάλο χρονικό διάστημα. Οι προκλήσεις είναι τεράστιες, αλλά οι Έλληνες έχουν επίσης τεράστιες δυνάμεις, όπως τόσες φορές έχετε αποδείξει στην ιστορία σας. Αυτό απαιτεί τεράστιες προσπάθειες και θυσίες, μα πιο πολύ απαιτεί την ευθυμία για αλλαγή. Σε κανέναν δεν αρέσει η αλλαγή στην πραγματικότητα, μας αρέσει να μένουμε στην ησυχία μας. Έτσι είναι η ανθρωπινή φύση. Πρέπει όμως να αποφασίζουμε ότι αυτό που θεωρούσαμε αυτονόητα δεν ισχύουν πια. Αν θέλουμε να προχωρήσουμε, we have to embrace change. So from this point, I'll continue in English. We need a comprehensive plan for Greece. Budget cuts alone will not do the trick, and it's very disturbing that the debate on the future of Europe has been reduced to a discussion about 3% and 60% targets. And austerity is unavoidable. It's simple maths. Spending more than you earn is not sustainable, and those who say that you can spend your way out of the crisis are lying. Spending does not automatically equal investment and growth. And let's not blame Europe or Mrs. Merkel. If Greece were outside the Eurozone, you would still be facing the same austerity. In just the same way, I would like to say to my fellow compatriots, the northern member states should not blame Greek debts for the need for budget cuts and structural reforms in our own countries. Cleaning up the political system is also an essential condition. A mere reshuffle of political talking heads is not enough. Voting for extremist parties may give brief relief for the anger and frustration, but it does absolutely nothing to advance the country. If you feel humiliated by the world, it won't make you feel any better to blame and humiliate others. Immigrants did not get the country into the mess. Elected politicians did. Politics should be about a real choice for citizens, a choice between parties offering a vision for the future of the country. Politics is not a mechanism for handing out favors and jobs. Politics is about shaping the country, about the general interest. And there are many different electoral systems across the EU. In my country, we have full proportional representation. But whatever the system is, it has to give voters a real choice and real influence. It's not as if they give their vote once every 4 years, ideally, and then politicians can do with it as they please. Politicians are accountable. And what we need are reliable, accountable, and transparent public institutions. Corruption and nepotism must end, and the general interest must come first. Trust in government and public bodies is a sine qua non for the future of Greece, or any other country indeed. Confidence of the Greek citizens, but also of investors, and confidence of Greek people in their own abilities. Greece has lots of smart people, highly educated people, the room is full of them, innovative people, enterprising people, and we must give them the confidence that Greece is an excellent place to invest, to innovate, to set up a business. The reliable public authorities are a precondition, but also a dramatic cut in red tape. Give young startups a chance, make it easy to create new business, ensure fair competition and full access for new market entrants, break down protectionist walls, eliminate vested interests. Greeks are naturally born entrepreneurs. They have the drive and the energy. And competition from new market entrants is not a threat, it's an opportunity, and it will give a boost to the Greek economy. Unleash that potential. We also need to invest in a modern and diversified sustainable knowledge economy as set out in EU 2020, the EU Action Plan for Economic Growth. Investment is needed in education and knowledge, in innovation, in ICT, in services, in new environmental and energy technologies. And these investments must also aim to boost labor productivity. Some people like to think that if only Greece were to reduce its debts, European trouble would be over. They're deeply mistaken. All of Europe needs radical change. All of us Europeans will have to leave our comfort zone and embrace change. We need to acknowledge that in the 21st century, it's not sufficient for Europe to be a loose, fairly non-committal cooperation between government leaders. Europe can only keep a lead in the world if we become a truly political, democratic union, a community of people. The era of Europe as a project of diplomats is over. Europe will be a political, democratic union of citizens, or it will not be. And that includes all citizens from all countries. And that means that we, all of us, European citizens, have to start acting as a community. And in such a community of citizens, humiliation and caricatures about other nations have no place. And political leaders on all sides have to stop using other Europeans as a scapegoat for short-term electoral gains. There are no superior or inferior Europeans. There are only Europeans. The world we knew will not come back. the world has changed dramatically. Geopolitics have shifted in tectonic movements. The Western hegemony is nearing its end, and other powers are emerging rapidly, but we are still in denial. Why do we not grasp the significance of the fact that about 2 years ago now, Europe asked a bailout from China? Just stop and think what that means. Europe asked a bailout from China. What does this tell us about the balance of powers in the world? And simultaneously, new information and communication technologies bring about nothing short of a revolution. The impact of the ICT revolution is at least comparable to the Industrial Revolution. And like 2 centuries ago, technological progress leads to radical changes in the way we have organized the economy, labor and capital, government and politics. Europe must become a political union, a union with direct democratic legitimacy, a democratic union where the political composition of government is not the outcome of horse trading at the summit of government leaders, but the outcome of elections, with full powers for the European Parliament, individual accountability for EU commissioners, and, first of all, with full transparency, so that citizens can scrutinize the people who govern them. And I can tell you that as a citizen, I try often to get access to documents of the European Union. It's quite a challenge, I can tell you, and that is something that has to change. In a democracy, secrecy has no place. But most of all, and I come to my conclusion, Europe as a community of citizens must be built on trust. Sometimes the situation looks desperate, and trust has reached an all-time low. But let's not forget that at the time the European project started, just after World War II, we had very little reason to trust each other then. And later on, after the fall of the Berlin Wall that triggered the reunification of Europe, we also didn't have so much reason for mutual trust. We Europeans have inflicted the most horrific atrocities on one another. But we always chose to have a common destiny and a common future. And I'm extremely pleased to be with you today, with like-minded people, people who like action, people who think Europe. And together we can shape the future of Europe. Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ.